Greetings and welcome back to Room 303 in our chats with Emily as we are calling our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson. We are in the Johnson edition and we turn out of poem 745, Renunciation is a Piercing Virtue. Now, of course, we just finished with 744, Remorse is Memory Away. So notice we're going to move from remorse now to renunciation. And one scholar, Leiter, calls this a searing definition poem. It's going to take us back. Do you guys remember when we did poem 303? The soul selects her own society, then shuts the door to her divine majority, present no more. Unmoved, she notes the chariots pausing at her low gate. Unmoved as emperor be kneeling upon her mat. I've known her from an ample nation. Choose one, then close the valves of her attention. Like stone when we did that poem. In our assumptions that you've been following our stuff at learnstrong.net, down that left-hand side, Chats with Emily, our playlist. Hopefully you've worked through our set of introductory comments as well as the preceding 744 poems. We just finished with 744, as we said, remorse is memory away. When we did 303, you'll remember that we commented on, it's as if Emily somehow had already read the Bhagavad Gita and understood that within that tradition, this whole notion of a renunciation or letting go is critical to spiritual training. You guys remember when we did 439? We played the same game again of this one. Undue significance a starving man attaches to food. Far off he sighs, and therefore hopeless, and therefore good. Partaken it relieves indeed, but proves us that spices fly in the receipt. It was the distance was savory. It is giving up things that make them seem to us so precious. You'll remember in 527 we played a similar game. To put this world down like a bundle and walk steady away requires energy, possibly agony. 'Tis the scarlet way, trodden with straight renunciation by the Son of God. Later his faint confederates justify the road. Flavors of the old crucifixion, filaments of bloom, Pontius Pilate sowed, strong clusters from Barabbas's tomb, sacrament, saints partook before us, patent every drop with the brand of the Gentile drinker who endorsed the cup. Now, Emily once wrote at the age of 18 to Abia Palmer Brute, a friend of hers, quote, "It's hard for me to give up the world." I think there is a tension in Emily's work of trying to say, I'm going to give up, and the other side, I'm refusing to give up. I will not give up at all. Now, there are scholars that have read this poem as actually two poems, both of them beginning with the word renunciation. And one scholar, Wolf, has called this the prototypical saint's vocation of learning how to renounce. I think Emily is talking a lot about her choice to be a poet in this poem. Renunciation is a piercing virtue, the letting go, a presence for an expectation, not now, the putting out of eyes, just sunrise, lest day's great progenitor outvie. Renunciation is the choosing against itself to justify unto itself, when larger function make that appear, smaller that covered vision here. Scholars pointing out that she may be playing around with the very word apocalypse itself, the uncovering, to say that in fact it is a covering. You'll remember that we have said that her favorite book of the Bible was the book of Revelation. That is to say, that apocalyptic vision, that apocalyptic uncovering. She'll begin with renunciation. She'll end with renunciation. Again, many have seen it as two poems. She'll start by saying that renunciation is a piercing virtue. Now, I mean, you can't read something like that and not think about Christ being pierced or nailed on a cross, right? And the idea that often renunciation is a painful experience. She calls it a virtue, by the way. Notice capitalized. Emily, acutely aware of the four cardinal virtues of Plato, wisdom, courage, temperance or discipline, and justice. And of course the three Pauline virtues of faith, hope, and love to make seven the perfect number seven. She understood the idea of virtues. Here for her, renunciation is a virtue. The letting go. You guys will remember when we did 341, she played that game. After great pain, a formal feeling comes. The nerves sit ceremonious like tombs. The stiff heart questions, was it he that bore in yesterday or centuries before? The feet mechanical go round of ground or air or aught. A wooden way, regardless grown. A quartz contentment like a stone. This is the hour of lead. This is the hour of lead. Remembered if outlived, as freezing persons recollect the snow. First chill, then stupor, then the letting go. This idea for Emily is there has to come a moment in our lives when a letting go will happen. Notice it is a presence for an expectation. Some have said that maybe the argument is she will have to wait to meet Sam Boyles in heaven, and that's the expectation that she's looking for now. Notice it's not now. And then she'll call it the putting out of eyes. This self-mutilation is compelling, given that Emily herself had terrible eye problems. And we know that she had to give up reading for 8 months in 1864. In fact, she wrote to a pal, quote, "The only woe," this not being allowed to read, "the only woe that ever made me tremble, it was the shutting out of the dearest friends of the soul." Then she had a dash, then in all caps, "books." The medical man might as well have said, "Eyes be blind, heart be still," end quote. This idea of giving up something for Emily is like being blinded right at the moment that sunrise, the key word just sunrise, lest day. Now, of course, this idea of the eyes go, the blinding happening makes us think, of course, of King Lear, Shakespeare's King Lear, Act 3, Scene 7, where Gloucester, of course, is jacked by Cornwall and out vile jelly and all of that. We've given full lectures at learnstrong.net. Day's great progenitor out vie. In other words, it's as if you really want to go through the process of renunciation, then blind yourself right before sunrise so that you never get to see the amazing sunrise, right? Then she comes to the second observation of renunciation. Instead of renunciation being a piercing virtue of letting go, giving away, letting go, renunciation is rather a choice. Notice it is the choosing, capitalized, against itself. Notice it's not myself or oneself, but there's almost like and there's a repetition now of three itselfs. It's as if she's stepping away from identifying herself, so using the word itself. The choosing against itself to justify. Again, we go back to the word just, sunrise. Here it's justify unto itself when larger function, is this eternity that's being referenced, make that appear smaller. Notice we go from larger to smaller. That covered vision. Here, notice here, capitalized and set off in dashes. What's the argument that she's making here? I think her argument is that the life of the artist is a life of renunciation. Whether that be a letting go or that be a choosing, a grasping one way or the other. Either way, being an artist requires a certain kind of renunciation in one's life. At 2b, well, obviously we've got all kinds of examples of alliteration here. Piercing, presence, pudding, progenitor, virtue, vision, and there is as well the repetition of itself in those final lines. As well, notice that it's a very compressed poem. To read it, you guys go and spend time reading it out loud, as I'm obviously recommending all these poems for you be read out loud. Hear how it's almost stilted as she's trying to come to terms with this whole notion of, should I give it up, should I let go, or should I choose one way or the other? At 3a, I think Hamlet is standing behind a whole bunch of this, the to be or not to be speech. Of course, the readiness is all, as he will say later in Act 5. And as well, when we get to poem 772, she'll say it all is the price of all. at 3B finally to own a poem like this, what are you really willing to give up so that you can get something else? Some of you have said that this study, I mean, hello, we're 745 poems into the Johnson edition of 1,775 poems. Obviously, you are giving up something to do this study with us. I hope that the choosing or the resignation is worth it for you. Thank you.